I want to talk about Lisa Bonet, the older woman thing. I want to talk about that. The older woman, Lisa Bonet and her husband had they split. They filed for divorce and stuff like that. And the thing with that is that the older woman thing. I thought they were happily married, and unfortunately that wasn't the case, because they divorced. They were two looking odd people, but I thought they could make it work. But the other thing that I looked at was the older woman factor. Because those older women, they go out for those younger men, man, and at some point, usually it doesn't work. For some reason it doesn't work, because I think the older woman is more mature, and when you pick those young guys, man, those younger men, they are like in a way immature. And a lot of women expect that man to be mature like she is, and in a lot of cases it's not like that. And so it's split, and I see it time and time again with Hollywood, other people that it's that older woman, that younger man doesn't work, man. Because they really isn't on the same page, man, and they always leave that older woman crying, man. At the end of the day, man, they end up splitting up for whatever reason, and I'll be like, man, it just doesn't work, man, and I know that a lot of times the man, he always go down to those younger girls, so it leaves the woman going to the younger men, and in a lot of cases it leaves the older woman going to the younger men, because the older men are choosing those young girls. And that's the real deal of it, man. But what you find is that that older woman and that younger guy, it really doesn't work. And it really doesn't work. And but you see it time and time again, man. But that's the real deal of it. I see it time and time again, man. And always leaving that older woman crying, man. And stuff like that. But I really thought that Lisa Bonet and her husband would work, but that older woman and younger man, it doesn't work, man. Betty White, I thought that Betty White was, I did think that she was like, she'd been out for a while, and the entertainment business, and I used to see her in older films and stuff like that, and I would see her, and she played in a lot of different shows, and even up to till she passed away in December of 2021. But she worked until till in her 90s. But the thing with her is that I always see a smile on her face, and she had a great smile and a great sense of humor, and that was something different about her. But she always had a sense of humor, though. And I remember seeing her. I remember seeing her before she passed. Remember seeing her. I had seen something on the internet, and they said that she was get ready to celebrate her 100th birthday. And they said they had put her on. I think it was People magazine. And shit like that, right? And she was telling like what she liked to eat and what she, it's this, that, and the other, and all this stuff. And I do remember seeing a video of her home. She had welcomed people in her home, to look at her house and stuff like that. And she played on the Golden Girls and the Mary Tyler Moore Show. I remember seeing her, man. But I think and she loved animals. She was the face of, people with the animal thing, and I was like, that she had the love for animals. I don't think she had any children, but she did love the animals, and thank God for her, again, I thought when she was on the Golden Girls, I thought that, because she had been out for a while, that because she'd been out for a while, that she would be like the star, like. But it was a lot of other women like B. Arthur and Rue McClanahan, and Estelle Getty and stuff like that. But I think that she stuck in there on that role. I think there was a role that that she ain't had no brains and stuff like that. But I think she did it, maybe for some paycheck or whatever. But I think it was a way to get other jobs, and she did. She did, until till she passed, But a lot of people loved her. They expressed her love for her because she was on a lot of different shows and stuff like that. So I imagine that she did have a lot of fans out there. Like that. Sidney Poitier. I remember right before Sidney Poitier had passed. He passed, and I believe in December or early January. At the end of December of 2021, or early 2022. One of them. He passed. But I remember I had this Sidney Poitier where Oprah interviewed him, and she it was a dinner, and a lot of people liked it, Sidney Poitier for what he stood for, and him being the African American male who first started out in the business and continued to stay in the business for a while and stuff like that. And so she had a dinner for him and celebrated him and what he meant to her and other people as well. And other people came into that dinner and stuff and telling how they liked him and this, that, and the other. And I remember getting that and shuffling when I was going to see that. And I remember like what day that I was going to see it. It was like about 2 weeks before he passed, somewhere like 2 weeks or something like that. And I remember saying, okay, what day I'm gonna watch this and what day I'm gonna watch this, because I had some other Oprah stuff and I didn't want it to play all the Oprah stuff all at one time. So I was really like shuffling when I was going to see Oprah with Sidney, right? And so happened, right? And then I remember a day before he had passed, I remember seeing something that told me someone had passed. And I was like, oh man, I don't know who that is, but I think it'll show me, right? And then the next morning, I turned on the radio, man, and they said that he passed. Sidney Poitier had passed, and I said, okay, that's the day that I ended up watching the Oprah Sidney Poitier dinner. You know, I was like, okay, this is the day I'm going to watch it. You know, but I still was like, you know, this was like 2 weeks before he had passed. I was shuffling time to when I was going to watch the Sidney Poitier and Oprah dinner, you know, and stuff. And when they told me that he had passed, I was saying, okay, you can watch it now, you know, like that. But I did like a show that he did. He did a show that he was a teacher. I forget the name of the movie, where that he brought like the students to wanting them to learn and stuff. And it was, I think it's back in the 60s or 50s or something, somewhere around there, that he did with them, and was trying to teach them how to learn and be better students and this, that, and the other, and all that stuff. And I liked that movie. I got that movie. I think it's called To Serve With Love. I think it was that movie. And you know, and then I think Sidney Poitier played in the movie with Bill Cosby early in the 70s. You know, I think it was Piece of Action. You know, and like that. So you know, I remember with that. But again, I tried to. You know. And stuff like that, but so let me see who else. Kobe Bryant. I think that Kobe Bryant. I did not kill Kobe Bryant or anything like that. I think it was between. I don't think it had anything to really do with Bill Cosby because of the time frame. I had a dream called African American Male Who's Famous for Sexual Assault, and Kobe Bryant did not fit the whole dream of that. Bill Cosby did. So when Kobe Bryant came up with sexual assault, he was literally by himself in that time frame. From 2003 to 2014 or 17, when Bill Cosby came up, that was a 14-year difference. So there was no one really, you know, up for sexual assault, except for Darren Sharper. But I didn't think he really fitted that. I think it was Kobe. You know, I think it was Kobe. I really didn't know Darren Sharper. He was a football player. I really didn't know him or anything like that. But Kobe Bryant was the one that was there for a long time, and he was the accidental identity person. It was an accident when I chose him, and then he ended up in an accident. Those were the two things that were in common. The accident, when it came to choosing him, it was an accident. And then he ends up in an accident. So those were the two accidents. And what I find out is whenever there is whenever I look at dreams and signals and premonitions, it always gives me something else to go with. If there is like an accident occurred, there's going to be an accident at the end as well. You know, it was always like the two always meet. It showed me two different times of if it's an accident. If it's a number 615, it's probably a number or a date. If a number 615 is given, well, something else is going to happen with 615, and I hit the number. On 615 was you could use it as a number or a date, and I chose a date, and that's the day that I hit. You know, like that. I hit the number on 615, the date, which is June 15. So you know, it always shows up twice, whatever that may be. It could be a number. It could be any situation where it always shows up. Like Anthony, like a mother and daughter. The mother was married to her husband, and her daughter was went with this guy. They wasn't married though, but they both were shot. And it was like 22 years apart, but they both were shot, and they had something to do with the mother and daughter, which is the mother and daughter, but they were shot and killed. The husband and the boyfriend, they were shot and killed, both of them. See, they were shot and killed, both of them. So it shows up in twos. And that's how Kobe showed up. Even though it was an accident, he dies in an accident as well. And so that's how the premonition shows up. It shows up in twos, like that. And that's how you know if it's real. It's a premonition. It's not something you just set out to do, to be malicious or evil or anything like that. So, what else? I wanted to see, was there John Bonet? I think the John Bonet story is one of a tough thing to go with, but I think that maybe new investigators need to come on the scene. Maybe that God is waiting for whoever that person is. They may have a son or a daughter or relative that is connected to that person that will go to prison, or it could be someone working in anywhere where that person works at, and whoever is the closest person to that person is probably God can use. God can use whoever is the closest person to her murder. And God could use them, because with Stehanie, Lazarus, and the Grim Sleeper, it was like the police officer, she was a police officer, and she killed this girl. And one of the police officer who was in charge didn't want to investigate her. And so what happened was she let her walk the street for 23 years, and so without investigating her or nothing. So what happened was new investigators came on the scene, and what happened was they investigated her, and they followed her and got her DNA, and to go up against the DNA that they had already.